How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. It's Thursday morning and we're going to take a look at some transfer news because there's talk of Jadon Sancho, Erling Haaland and Conor Gallagher.
Welcome to DT's Daily. That's right.
So it's Thursday morning and we're going to take a look at a few transfer news that have been doing the rounds over the last 24 hours. We're not going to be talking about Man City and their corruption today. We will save that for another day. But Borussia Dortmund have been speaking about Jadon Sancho. Of course, he went back to Borussia Dortmund from Manchester United on loan, and they've said that they don't think that he will be able to return back to Borussia Dortmund unless it is for another loan deal. Now, his valuation is around about £50 million. It's going to be a big loss for Manchester United either way. I think this one pretty much kind of lies with what happens with Erik ten Hag. If he stays at Manchester United, then I feel that Jadon Sancho is done, is finished, and he will look to get out of there next season. And I don't think even, Erik ten Hag is going to want him back. But if Erik ten Hag, does get sacked and moved on, then Jadon Sancho may well have another opportunity. He may well be able to reignite his career at Manchester United. But Borussia Dortmund, they're struggling to come up with the funds of £50 million. So it looks like if he is going to go back there, it would have to be another loan deal. Would Manchester United go for that? Would they be happy with that? I'm not too sure. They may well want to get him off the books because no doubt his wages is a big one. Next piece of news involves Conor Gallagher. Of course, he's Chelsea's captain, and there seems to be a lot of talk about Conor Gallagher and the domino effect that it has with management. Now, if you believe the reports, Maurizio Pochettino wanted to keep Conor Gallagher, but the hierarchy at Chelsea wanted to get rid of him, and that's where there were some issues. Of course, they've got a new manager in now, and is he gonna, sit back, be quiet, does as he's told, and Conor Gallagher moves on? It's an interesting one. When you're looking at the teams that are being mentioned as being interested, you've got Aston Villa and you've got Spurs. You'd kind of have to look at the situation with Aston Villa and think maybe Champions League football is what would swing it. Wages, £50 million price tag. I think that's a big price tag. £50 million for Conor Gallagher. It's actually mad, isn't it? It's the world we're living in now. And you wonder why they've got spending caps and everything else at the moment. So we just don't go and spend ridiculous amounts of money. But yeah, it's an interesting one as to what actually happens. And, will the new Chelsea manager have a say in this if he is moved on? Does he want him? Yeah, it's an interesting one, that's for sure. And if I was a betting man, I'd probably say that Conor Gallagher's going to move on after the Euros, though. But again, I would say, I nearly said that if he had a really good Euros, it could change things. But I don't really feel that he's going to be a major part of England's setup. Is he even going to be in the final squad that goes to the Euros? He might not even be in the final squad. He might be one of the players that's removed out from the preliminary one. And even if he does, go to the Euros, I can't see him being heavily involved to change people's minds in terms of, everyone coming and knocking the door down for his signature. But it's one to watch, that's for sure. Brief bit of news involving Alexander Isak. Of course, he's had a fantastic season at Newcastle, 25 goals, 40 games. There's been a lot of talk about his injury record, and he has had his fair share of injuries. But the fact he's played 40 matches says that it might not be as bad as what you think. Now, listen, if Newcastle are going to sell him, if a club wants to go in and buy him, they're going to have to pay ridiculous amounts of money. And from what he's saying, he's happy. He enjoys it on Tyneside. He enjoys the support and everything else. So I don't think Isak's going to be leaving there before the season, that's for sure. But you never know. Stranger things happen in football. And if someone came in with an absolutely astronomical offer that Newcastle couldn't refuse, then, yeah, you never know. Last piece of news involves Erling Haaland. So we do speak about Man City in one sense. But, yeah, he's refused to discuss rumours over his contract extension at Manchester City. His contract currently expires in 2027, so he's got 3 years. But listen, you know what they say, once you get to around about 2 years, that's when you start worrying. And when you've got somebody like Haaland who's going to be worth a lot of money, I believe his release clause is £175 million, then what you don't want is a situation a bit like Kylian Mbappe, where you've got a player of that calibre and you lose him for free. It's absolutely staggering, isn't it? When you think about it, it's just like, yeah. So after this season coming, he will get to that 2-year period, and yeah, I feel a lot will depend on what happens at Manchester City. This whole situation with the Premier League, the 115 charges. I can't see Erling Haaland playing in the Vanarama League, but. Yeah, it's whether these players have got something in their contracts about if a club was relegated or something like that. We never know what's in contracts now and the clauses that they have to protect themselves or whatever it might be. But yeah, we're not going to be getting rid of him just yet. But yeah, he's kind of not really speaking about it. And on the same note, Kevin De Bruyne was speaking about the possibility of him moving to the Saudi League. And he was saying that the kind of money that he would earn and is being offered would be something that he would never earn in 10, 15 years of playing in Europe. So it's something that he has to consider when he's at the age he is now. So, you could look at that as nothing more than speculation and a bit innocent in its context, or you could look at it like Man City players are saying, you know what, let's get ready to jump ship, because when this one starts sinking, we don't want to be a part of it. Oh, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, like I said. And there was some things going on yesterday with Man City, and conveniently an interview came out. Listen, man, I said I'm not even going to bother getting into it. And I'm not going to get into it because when you look at it all, it just bores the life out of me. And it's, if they get this rule removed and they win this case, then it will be an absolute free-for-all in terms of transfers. Teams like Man City and Newcastle, etc., will just go and blow the market wide open. They will just absolutely destroy everything. But like I said, I'm not going to go into it. I will save it for another day. I will wait for the verdict. There's a lot I want to say. There's a lot that I've got to say. But yeah, like I said, we will wait for another day. So listen, that is it for today's DT's Daily. Bit of transfer news and everything else. Tomorrow, we'll see what happens over the next 24 hours and whether there's anything really juicy to talk about. But at the moment, it's just pretty much rumours and nothing concrete. But it's that time of year, ain't it? So, listen, if you're new around here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you smash a like on this video. And I will see you lot soon. I'm out of here.